Welcome to the Black Voice Hertfordshire community meeting. Our speakers tonight are the GW Kid, Sam McKinday and Laura Weston. To find out more about the Black Voice Hertfordshire community meeting, please view the chat now. To note our house rules, please view the chat now. Speakers, collaborations, volunteers. We need you. Email us at blackvoiceletchworth@gmail.com. To find out more about Black Voice Letchworth, please view the chat now. Our two main aims are to fundraise for the UK's first Black History Museum, Library and School of Cultural and Creative Arts and to support the Black community. Please note our socials in the chat now. Our online services include Kids Gaming Group, BVL Radio Show, Funky Ma, our parent and child fitness class, Mama Sugar Shakes, the Black History School, mental health support, legal advice support, the Accountability Dossier, the Al-Kubalan Festival, Hate Crime Reporting Centre, Employment Support, Computer and Internet Support, the BVL Magazine, Short Films and Documentaries, Online Courses, Private Function Entertainment, Online Saturday Events Monthly. Please note our donation information in the chat. Save the date, the next Black Voice Hertfordshire community meeting, Friday the 24th of September. Working together for change, our Black Voice Letchworth team welcomes you and we hope you enjoy the meeting tonight. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the monthly Black Voice Hertfordshire community meeting for August. I hope you had a good month. Today we have a few less people than normal because obviously it's summer. Our first speaker today will be the GW Kid. Please keep in mind that there will be a child on the call today and therefore refrain from saying or doing anything that isn't really appropriate for a younger audience. We will also be hearing from Laura Weston, founder of Savvy Peacocks, who is a financial expert and personal coach. Laura will be talking about teaching kids to manage finances. And finally, we'll be hearing from BVL's own Sam McKinday, who will be talking about respect. Before we begin, here are our house rules. Please remain muted at all times, apart from when you're contributing. Please use the virtual Zoom hands up button to give notification that you would like to contribute or write your question or comment in the chat box, and we'll make note of it and read it out. Due to the specific nature of this space, please refrain from using any and all known and unknown ethnic group acronyms and words. Please wait for a contribution to end before you contribute. Raised voices over a contribution is not permitted. Please do not swear or use foul language, especially not today because we have someone young going to be here. Please place all contact information, events, projects of your organisation, etc. that you wish to share in the chat. Black Voice Letchworth is on many social media platforms. Please come and connect with us. We are on Facebook, Tumblr, Pinterest, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram and LinkedIn under the name Black Voice Letchworth, on Snapchat and Twitter with the username @BlackVoiceL, and we have a website at www.blackvoiceletchworth.com. Our contact number is 07581 720032, and our emails are blackvoiceletchworth@gmail.com and bvlinquiries@gmail.com. All of the places where you can find us online will be posted into the chat. A link to a form where you can provide feedback about Black Voice Hertfordshire community meetings will also be in the chat. If you don't receive our reminder emails for these meetings or the minutes and recordings, please feel free to use the other link in the chat to tell us your email address. This is not mandatory, but there are quite a few people who attend that we don't know how to contact. If you would like to donate, our PayPal is blackfoxletchworth@gmail.com and our fundraiser is at www.blackfoxletchworth.com. But this information will also be in the chat. Black Voice Letchworth now has services ready to order, including Princess Tea, the One Woman Black History Show, the One Drop Rule, adult dance classes, and event entertainment. We also have free services available, so please do check out our social media to get involved. I'm now happy to hand over to the GW kid, and I'm just going to be getting up a video on my screen now that is part of.
Pass you over to my son and Michaela's son, Michael.
Hello.
Hello. Come over.
Hello, Michael.
A bit closer. There we go.
Hello.
Hello, Michael.
When you're ready, Amy's going to put the video on for you.
Okay. Today I'm going to be showing good games for top 10 games for kids on Android 2021. Yeah, so basically I'm going to be showing top 10 games for Android, which are really good, and some not the best, but still good. And yes, I'm going to be showing you some gameplay and going to 10, which is the lowest, and 1, which is the highest.
Do you want to play the video, Amy?
That's
Yeah,
good.
I'm just getting it up.
There we go.
Okay. Let me know if you can't hear it. I'll just start playing it now.
There's no audio.
It's just.
It's just a gameplay.
Oh, is it? It's not. Oh, okay. Great.
At first, we have Mad Gun Z. Pixel Gun 3D. It is a pretty good game. It is a bit difficult to figure out how to shoot with the guns. As you can see in this clip, I'm struggling to figure out how to shoot the guns. But it is a good game once you figured out the controls. It is a very good game. I have actually played it with the controls. It is a very good game. You should check it out, but I wouldn't recommend it if you don't know how to do it. Anyway, at number 2, we have Solo Smash. It's more or less the game which you'll play when you're waiting at a hospital or for a train. It's not a game where it has an objective. It's basically where you destroy planet Earth and various other planets. And it is a very good game. It doesn't have like quests or any story to it. It's just a fun sandbox game where you can destroy the planet Earth. As you can see in the gameplay, I'm destroying planet Earth.
Yeah, very good.
Sadly. Well, it's already destroyed it now, but it is a very good game. It's got good graphics. It's not that laggy, and it is all in all a good game. You should definitely check it out if you're looking for any mobile games. It doesn't get updated that regularly. It only gets updated every couple of months or occasionally weeks. Anyway, the next game is we have Warhammer Odyssey. Warhammer Odyssey is a pretty good game. The controls are a bit difficult at first, but it does have very good dialogue, a good story. You can also get this on PC, but the mobile game is good as well. It is a bit laggy in this footage, was one of the problems, but that's probably because of how good the graphics are. It has good controls. It is, again, really hard to shoot. As you can see, I'm struggling.
Warhammer's been around a long time as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, no, there's a shop in Letchworth.
Yeah, there's a good shop in Letchworth.
Yeah. It's got a bunch of features. It does have unskippable cutscenes in the mobile version, which is a bit hard to play. Again, this is just a tutorial. I didn't get any footage with the actual gameplay, but it is all in all a very good game. As you can see here, I'm playing against this character, and yeah, it's a very good game. And next one is Mad Gun Z. It's got very good graphics. It may seem like a Minecraft slash Fortnite rip-off merged together, but it is a really good game. The controls are easy to make. It has a lot of things that you can do. It's got customizable features. As you can see here, I was battling out against a couple of players and I just died. But it does have a lot of features. You can actually grind and like get all the stuff you need. Like you can customize, and other like games like in Fortnite, the customizations aren't good for gameplay, but the customizations in this game are actually really good for gameplay, like speed boost and health boost and occasionally strength boost. Next one is Flag Pro Shooter. Now, Flag Pro Shooter is a very good game because it's got good graphics. It's very easy to control since you just have to click. The objective of the game is to destroy the bunker target. As you can see, it's a tutorial. But you would go to the bunker target, which kind of looks like the target logo, and you'll shoot it. And once you've taken down both the mini bunkers, you'll go to a big bunker, which you should see soon. You should see soon in the gameplay. Once you've defeated once you've defeated both of the bunkers, the force field, which you can see, which you probably just saw earlier, that force field there, that will be disabled. Then you'll go up the ladder and you'll go inside the bunker, and you should find the main bunker power source. Then you will destroy that, which lowers their health, and boom, you win the game. And has a really cool cutscenes at the end. And next one is at number 5, we have Big Hunter. Big Hunter is a game where you can get customizable options. It is a bit hard since you have to run away from the mammoth. It has a storyline, not very based on the storyline, but more or less on gameplay. It is a stickman game where basically your objective is to defeat the monsters. There are various monsters that you can have, like you can actually change the skin of the mammoth, and you can change the skin of your character. And it is a bit hard though when it is attacking you. It doesn't really stop. It doesn't really have a good balance between it running at you because you are slower than it, and running away is pointless because it'll eventually catch up to you and go oof.
Oh no.
Anyway, next one is Ninja Arashi 2. Ninja Arashi 2 is a bit of a violent game. It does have a bit of blood and gore, but it is a good game. As you can see, the mechanics are very well made. It doesn't have that many facial features, like it's not based on cosmetics. For example, we're only like a shadow. But still, all in all, it's very satisfying when you get a hit. So, as you can see here, I am jumping. It is very cool. It basically is a simulation. As you can see here, it's got a bit of blood, and it's kind of like ragdolls. I don't know if you know what they are, but they basically just fall to the ground. Anyway, next is at number 3 is Toka Kitchen 2. Toka Kitchen 2 is a really good game, and the reason why it's a good game is that you basically feed people different foods by cooking it, boiling it, putting vinegar on it, hot sauce on it. Basically, there's a lot of different reactions, like characters in the game will have different reactions. For example, there's a monster character in it for some reason, and if you feed that monster character a raw potato, it'll like it. But if you feed the French guy a raw potato, he'll be like, ugh, that's a raw potato, it's not cooked. You can also have a lot of other features, like you can boil here, you can cut it. There's a lot of foods, there's like spaghetti, and you can cut the spaghetti, as you can see here, I'm cutting it. It is a very good game. The people who made it have actually made other games which are really good. And as you can see, As you can see here, you can feed the carrot to food, and if he doesn't like it, he'll have a expression like ugh. But if he likes it, he'll be like happy. But there's different versions of ugh. Anyway, the next one here at number 2 is Roblox. You've probably heard of this game. It's very popular. It's got multiple games made by multiple people. You can even make your own games on there. It's got so many customizable features, and it's all based on the community. So basically the community will make like hats and accessories and games, basically a bunch of stuff. As you can see in here in the gameplay, I'm playing one of the games called Prison Life. It's a very good game. It's very old, but it's very good. And as you can see here, I'm trying to get the attention of this cop. And yeah, that is a very good game. All in all, I definitely recommend it. And it's completely free. Next one is Minecraft. Now, Minecraft is sadly not free. It costs around £6 on mobile and £17 on Java. But it is a good purchase if you are purchasing it, because it does have a lot of good features. It has servers and offline modes. You can also play with your friends. You can use mods or add-ons on mobile. You can customize your skin. Either you can make your own skin in an offline app, like a different app not connected to the actual site, or you can actually use the site's customizable features, which are more 3D. As you can see here, I'm logging onto a server, which are very good. As you can see, it's a lifeboat, and it's loading, and yeah, it does have a lot of features. It's an optional feature if you want your kids to play online or offline. For example, you can turn it offline, like you can select the offline. Basically, if they're under a certain age, it'll stop them from playing online. I'm not sure if once you get older, it like gradually lets you play on servers and with your friends. But all in all, it's a good game, good purchase if you buy it. Again, it is sadly not paid. It is sadly you have to pay for it, and yeah.
Cool.
Thank you very much to Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
That's
That's
really
very
good,
well done.
Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Okay,
How old are you, Michael?
10, nearly 11.
Well done, young man.
Yeah.
Very impressive. I need to set you up on a little friend meetup with my 7-year-old son, because he would definitely be looking up to someone like you. You're awesome.
Bless you.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can go now.
Okay.
Bedtime.
Thank you very much, Michael. Bye.
Wow, that was brilliant. I think I might try the game where you try and shoot the earth at the sun. I mean, the sun at the earth. That was my personal favorite. Anyway, our next speaker is Laura. I don't know do you have like a presentation that you want to share or anything?
No, I was just going to talk for 10 minutes. That's all right. I have got a few things I can share if I need to, if the conversation goes that way, but probably not for this evening. It is Friday night after all. So hello everybody, my name is Laura. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you. I run a financial coaching business called Savvy Peacocks, which if it wasn't so bright in this room, you would be able to see my lovely logo on my wall there. And I'm so pleased to be here because I'm a local girl, and Michaela actually found me through a talk I was doing online to a load of volunteers out in Nigeria, setting up financial education for children in Nigeria. And Michaela found me through that, which is completely random because we actually live just down the road from each other and I'm a local girl. So within Savvy Peacocks, we're on a mission to financially educate parents so that they can hand down that vital life skill to our future generations. I'm sure we've all seen that financial literacy is at an all-time low in the UK. In actual fact, I'd be interested to know, what do you think financial literacy is across the UK as a percentage?
Good.
What do you reckon?
About 10-15%.
Oh no, it's much, much higher than that, actually. I think it's terrible and it's much, much higher than that.
Like 50%?
It's 67%.
Is it?
And just to give you an idea, it's 83% in America. So I think we should be further ahead than America. And countries like Nigeria and stuff, it's like 8%. So that's why I enjoyed doing that piece of work over there with the students in Nigeria. So and the way I do that is help and support parents to get themselves in the best possible place with their money, because in case you didn't know, your money habits, and you may well find this for your own personal situation, is that your money habits are a generational habit. They will be things that you've picked up and learned through your childhood. And what's quite shocking and scary for most people to find out is that children actually start deciding on their relationship with money from around age 7. So really talking to them from age 5 up to age 7, and then by age 9 they have solidified their relationship with money and how they're going to view money in the future. And so anything after that, maybe if they didn't get the right perspective around money, needs to be undone right back from that age. So my job is particularly difficult with parents that I may be dealing with in their 30s or 40s that are having to go right back through those generations, back to their childhood. And of course, to give them the opportunity to change that future generational habit, to ensure that that vital life skill is shared, because we all know it's not taught in schools at the moment. And I don't actually believe it should be taught in schools, by the way. I believe that it does need to be taught by the parents, and that it is something that we need to talk about in the home. Similarly to us, prioritizing the fact that we want to teach our children to swim and teach them how to ride a bike and use a washing machine and all those kind of things. It's a life skill, in my opinion. So I just wanted to share with you my sort of 4 pillars of areas that I like to talk to parents about, or talk to children around, the 4 areas that I think that they need to know about in relation to money from that early age. So from your sort of 6, 7, 8, 9 age, and then you would take it into a different level when it gets into teenagers and young adulthood. So there's 4 pillars that I like to make sure are always covered off, and I use it with an acronym called PEGS, so it's really easy to remember. So I believe in talking to children about how to plan their money, how to earn money, how to give money, and how to save money. And you'll notice there that save is the last one, because it's savings that always gets talked about so much. I'm sure the government have probably got it on their agenda to add into our curriculum, and the chances are it's probably just going to be savings that they talk to our children about. But actually, I believe that those other 3 elements are much more important before they even get to the savings, because if we don't teach them how to plan that money or earn it in the first place, then there's really no point in talking to them about saving it. So they're my 4 pillars of how I educate and talk to parents and children about money. There's a whole breadth of other things I do, but I just said to Michaela I'd come along, give you an overview, give you an idea about why it's so important to talk about it from a young age, and have the opportunity to give our future generations the best possible start in life, because I'm sure we can all think back where we went off, finished studying, got our first job, got our first pay slip, and probably thought, what do we do with this now? How does this work? Or maybe you might have spent a few years spending it all and not doing anything with it. So, you know, I think having that financial education as early on as possible, so that they don't waste those first few adult years, is really, really important. I am obviously open to any questions. I probably should have said at the start, actually, that I ended up starting my business after a 20-year career working for HSBC. So I can pretty much answer any financial or banking question that you want to throw at me. I do also help a lot of entrepreneurial businesses. So anything personal or business, I'm there to answer your questions, particularly as the high street banks are disappearing off our high street. I don't know if you're aware, but the Letchworth branch is going to be closing with HSBC in the next few months. And I'm sure that if big banks like HSBC are closing those high streets, then the others will follow. So yeah, that is me. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to come along and say hi and meet you all. As I say, I am local. I live on Fairfield Park. So if anyone's in Letchworth, I'm literally just down the road. And yeah, open to any questions.
Thank you, Laura. Usually we do the questions, I should have mentioned, like at the end of all the talks. So
I apologise.
Oh no, that's fine, it's fine. But thank you very much for your talk. Next, our last speaker is Sam, who will be talking about respect.
Okay, thank you for allowing me to come about respect, and thank you, Laura, especially for what you said about teaching people in Nigeria. What made me to say that it's, I think I said 10 to 15% in England is because of what you said, that if they are going to, if government is going to say that our schools should be teaching it, it's going to be about saving. And I mean, and that's really true, because I mean, most of our children, because I teach and I've met so many children, it's as if the cash can just grow on trees and they can just use it anyhow. So that that's why I think that saving will come, but saving is just an aspect, which is like you put it there, about 25% of the 4 pegs. so that if we look at it, really, respect is more like that. And if we don't respect ourselves, we don't respect our money. so that we need to really come under, it comes under the same banner. So I mean, I would like people to throw a question for me, if you don't mind, Amy. And the reason for that is because then I could see the level that people are thinking about respect. Any question? Fire on. Anybody? It would have been nice for Michael to listen to this.
He's just getting ready for bed. Sorry, Sam.
Oh, bless him. Bless him.
I don't know if it's a question. I suppose from a father's point of view, growing up, as a kid growing up, I had nothing but respect for my dad. And you know, the age-old saying is respect is earned, not given.
Yeah.
And I suppose as a man of your wisdom, what would you say would be the best way to encourage respect from your own, well, in my case, from my own son? Because my father passed away 16 years ago. So in terms of learning from him, I can't really learn anymore. So what would you say is the best thing for me to do to try and not teach my son respect, but for him to learn to respect his parents and his elders more?
That's a good question, and because how do we teach it?
Yeah.
Which really I would like to turn the other way around. How we will learn about it so that we know more about it, rather than somebody teaching us. And respect is not something that should be given just to schools. Like you are saying, Laura, same thing with money, because respect is not something that schools should have like a curriculum studies on. And then also parents. And I'm glad that from the aspect that you took it. Sorry, I don't know your name. I know you signed it as Michaela.
Oh, sorry, I'm Jonathan. Beg your pardon.
Jonathan. Okay, John. Okay, so that when we look at that, to me, it's the combination of the two, because it, like we will put it in Nigeria and in so many other African countries, that it takes a village to educate a child. So that if we look at it from the village point of view, you will find that there will be uncles, there will be aunties,
Yeah.
there will be granddad, there will be a young person, so that when you look at it, the whole people within the family are the people that will teach a child. So it's not just the dad. And that's what I first found difficult when I came to Britain, because when I see a child misbehaving, I will say, come on, stop that.
No, they won't listen.
No, they
No,
wouldn't.
they won't listen. No.
So that to me, it's my responsibility to say, come on, hold on, stop. And which some people tend to find difficult, because why are you controlling my child? Are you telling me off that I'm not able to train my child? No, it's not because I think that you cannot train your child. It's because, to me, that's the way I was brought up. That everybody.
Sorry to interrupt, but I don't think it's a cultural thing either. I mean, Michaela says about being Trinidad, everybody was auntie and uncle. But when I was growing up, I grew up on a council estate and all my neighbours were auntie and uncle. But now, I think, again, I say it's a generational thing. I think now, because you're worried about who's talking to your child. So
Yeah.
Whereas before, you know, oh yeah, my neighbour was a guy called Wallace. Everybody called him Uncle Wally. So whereas when I was a kid, if Uncle Wally told me off, Uncle Wally told me off. But now, if it was my neighbour telling off Michael, I wouldn't necessarily stand for it. If you know what I mean. So it's not just cultural; it's also generational.
Yeah, I think it's generational, and it's also the society that we now live in. That we have so many perverts around,
Yeah,
that you do not know who is speaking or who is talking or who is challenging your child, and you will not like anybody just to speak to your child without you knowing them. So I agree with that. But what I'm saying there, John, is that I'm talking from the way that I was brought up. Okay, because really I think it is important that I do that, because you will see it as I go along. Val, it appears if you want to ask a question. Yeah, go on, because it might lead to what Jonathan was saying.
Right. I also noticed Sam was a teacher. I retired last month.
Yes, you say.
Yes,
Lucky you.
I've got a different point of view, I think, about this. That I find that teenagers actually, they do understand about respect, and they can actually articulate what they mean about respect. But it is mutual respect. They expect to be respected back, and they can actually explain what they mean by that, how they want to be viewed and be treated. And so it's just a case of one way. I think we're talking about the past where it was one way, where if someone's an adult, you actually respect them and did as they said, whether you agreed with it or not, or how they treated you. And possibly we need to look at what society is like today. And you say there aren't all these aunties and uncles around. We're basically talking about teenage young people. It is respect within their age group. Does that make sense? Don't you think? Well, I don't know if those who are younger, Amy or Michaelia's son, I don't know if he's still there. Got to be on that, or Laura.
I think it's a good idea, Val.
I mean, I agree with you, Val, but if you let me finish, you will see where I'm coming from in terms of what I'm talking about in terms of respect, because it's not just the giving of it, it's the receiving of it sometimes. Because when we talk of who can we give respect to, or who gives respect and to who, it's all within the whole structure, that a child will like to be given respect just as an elder will like to be given respect, and even your peers will like to be given respect too. So that when you look at it, respect is not just one-way street. it's give and take. So that, I mean, for example, like the children in my school, some people have, I mean, they are white, and then I just turned, then, I mean, like it's happened about, I mean, I've been teaching for some times now, but it's happened about 5 times in different schools. So that it's not just in one school, that I will turn and somebody will say, Dad. then, then I say, oh, thank you so much for that, for calling me that. But what is it really that you really needed? But it's because they know that I'm not going to shout at them, and I'm not going to sort of just, I will treat everybody the same and within the class. And that sometimes reflects the way that you are giving respect to, especially in school. So that, to me, elders need to learn how to give respect to the younger people, just as younger people need to learn to give respect to the older people. And similarly, even to our peers, that we learn how to give respect. And in Yoruba, like when Michaela asked me to talk about this, I said, it is changing, because it's not the way that I left it in Nigeria about 35 years ago, that it is still there. No, it's not. And even when I was there, the culture was changing, because Islamic people will not do what I learned as a younger person, because Islamic people will not prostrate, because to them you are telling them, you are saying that that person is a god. And Islam, I mean, like even when I was graduating at Cambridge, one of the Islamic person that was on another course, not my course, was allowed just to stand in front of the VC instead of kneeling down to receive the degree. So that you find that cultures are changing, or let me say not changing, evolving every time. And as such, we need to really look at what it is within our culture, just like Jonathan was saying earlier on about we not like the next door neighbor just to speak anyhow to his son. And I quite agree with that. So that when we talk of respect, the word that we use matter. For example, like if I'm going to speak to somebody who is older than myself, in my language, we have words that I will use. For example, epele, just hello, so that the way that I'm going to say it, I will add the to it, okay? Because that word means that I'm giving respect to that person. Whereas to my peer, I will just say pele, which means how, and which is sort of acceptable. But if I'm going to say it to a younger person, I will use the same word, but the tonation will be hello. Sort of, I will raise my the O sort of makes the child to be a younger person, so that the word that you use matter. In Yoruba, which part of Nigeria are you teaching the people, Laura? In Lagos or Abuja?
It was an online conference, and they've got 200 volunteers that are going across the whole of Nigeria. So they are choosing their individual schools that like their local schools to them, that are local to the volunteers.
Okay.
It's a government initiative that the education secretary attended. So yeah.
Okay, and that's really interesting. And what is happening, and the reason I was asking that is because the way that we will show respect in southwestern part of Nigeria, that's the Yoruba part, is quite different from the way that the northern part will show it. And it's quite different from the way that the eastern part will show it, although we are the same country. So that you will find that it sort of differs from one section of the country to another. Even within Yoruba sort of parts of Western Nigeria, old Western Nigeria, you will find that is different because of the religion there. That, as I was telling you, the Islamic people will not do it. Whereas even to my own senior, I will call him senior brother, that is an older brother than myself, I will prostrate. Even up till now, if I go and I do not do that, it's, oh, he's been to England, so he's lost his culture. So that to me, it's nothing, but to him, to my elder brother, if I do not do it, he's going to label me Binto. So that makes me to be prepared to do that if I go to Nigeria. But if he's going to speak to me, he will not use O, which sort of puts the person as being below. He will use A as if we are equal, so that he does give respect back to me too. So that, but it's the way that we give it. When do we give it? Laura, you want to ask a question?
A bit of a question and a comment, if you don't mind.
Go on.
I love the fact that there's that opportunity to be able to voice the different levels of respect, the O and the A. I wish we had that in the English language, because I think it would help out a lot. And I wanted to ask you around respect between siblings that you've just mentioned there with your elder brother, because I've got 3 children. I had 3 children in 3.5 years. They're all very close together in age. I've got a boy, girl, boy, so they're 7, 5 and 3 now. And I just wondered if there were any hints and tips you could share around respect within the siblings, particularly when they're at that young age, because I can tell you there's literally no respect between them. They respect me and they respect their father. We're co-parenting, so that's quite an achievement, to be fair. But the fact that they have little respect for each other, but also even more than that, physical respect as well, I've got to tell you. They really are quite boisterous between them. So any hints and tips you can give around that sibling respect?
Laura, can I just interject? I've got 2 older brothers who I'm 40, and there's 5 years between me and one and 7 between me and the other one. And I can tell you now, there's still no respect between the 3 of us.
Great, something to look forward to then. Yeah. There's no sort of golden ticket I'm going to get here then. The reason I ask it is because I know about the Nigerian culture. My partner's from Ghana originally, and the respect he shows to his elder sister and his younger brother is just so different to how my children view it. And it's just, I think the difference in the cultures is just like that. It's just so far apart. So anything we can learn from what you're talking about, the better.
Yeah, I think it comes down to you as a parent, because you will find that when they do this, for example, let's say I'm visiting somebody in my part of Nigeria, and I'm with my family, all right? And I know that person is older than me, and my brother is by my side. I will, just because I know that my brother is by my side, I will courtesy, or sort of at least sort of bend down a little bit for that person, okay? But I'm not doing it because of my brother. I'm doing it because that's the way that I was brought up. So that to me, the family has something to do with it. That is when they address one another, that you sort of say, hold on, why are you, I mean, sort of put it back as a questions to them, because they know why they are doing it. They might sort of say, I don't know. No, they know. And if you start to question the behavior that is not that of showing respect, then you will find that they will start to change. So that, to me, is the questioning, so that then they learn from you questioning them when they are reacting to one another. And that is really about part of the learning that I will like to say to people, that don't come like a ton of brick over them and say, you don't talk to your siblings like that. No. What made you to say that to your brother or to your sister? Are there any other ways that you can say it? How would you like to for example, how would you like him or her to say that back to you? And sometimes they will say, oh, so that, to me, I mean, sometimes even in my classroom, I've just sort of thrown it to some students like that. Why did you shout at that person? Instead of saying that, it appears as if you are shouting. In what way will you like that person to speak to you? So they say, oh no, I wouldn't like the person to shout at me. So then you can say, if you wouldn't like the person to shout at you, what is then that is enabling you to shout at them like that? So that, to me, questioning really could be used to bring it across to children, to start to note whether they are respecting or not respecting one another. So that, to me, don't wait till they are 15, 17. It's better to start it now. Because if you start it now, then it becomes, you will find that it will change the way that they react even to other people outside your family. I mean, that's what I will say about that. And which then leads me to my next point. Where do we learn it? Where do we learn it? To me, it's everywhere. In my classroom, on the street. I mean, but greet the person first. Don't start with questioning the person. So that by even the matter of saying hello, I know that in Britain, sometimes people just walk past you. In my school, a student will walk past me, then I just say, oh, hello, how are you? How are you this morning? And that breaks down the ice between the child and the adult. And even some staff, they walk past you and then you say hello, and then they have to say hello back. Okay, and I think that really matters. Let us just start with that, hello, how are you? Sort of scenario. And that will help to start to bridge the gap of lack of respect for one another. Then what do you do if people do not give it to you? Are you to shout at them? No, I don't believe in that. I mean, just like, when my elder brother said that, is it because you've been to England now that you're not prostrating? I don't argue back with him, because if I argue, I will never win that argument. So it's better just to look for ways of removing the argument and say, okay, sorry about that, so that then I then do it without sort of, because it doesn't cost a penny. And if it doesn't cost a penny, so why are you so much worked up about it? So that one should just learn how to give it. But there are implications for respect, to me, in British schools, especially between Black children or mixed race children and schools. Because children have come from home where, for example, if I'm speaking to my son, I have two sons and two daughters. One is 41, one is 40. They will not look straight into my eyes like that when I'm talking to them. Why? Because that's the way they've been brought up. They've seen me doing it to other people. So that it's not, and to me, in England, so many Black children have found that they do not look at teacher when the teacher is talking to them, because the teacher is in position of authority. And some teachers will then say, why aren't you looking at me? So they start to argue with the child as if the looking really is the problem. The looking isn't the problem. So that there is that miscommunication going on between teacher and student. So to me, there is an implication for that, and we need to recognize that we do not force a Black child to look at the teacher because we just feel that they are not listening to us. They are listening, but it's the way that they've been brought up. So that the teacher needs to really recognize, and the school needs to recognize that. So that it's not just one teacher that will be doing that. It's so many teachers that will be doing that. But if I'm then speaking to a white child, I'm expecting them to look at me because I know that within the culture, by not looking at me, you are disrespecting me. So that I put it back to the child by asking them questions. And that really breaks down the barrier. And then they start to listen or answer or give answer. And that's another thing, answering back the teacher. Sometimes the teacher see it as back chatting with them. And to me, it's not back chatting, it's the way the child has been brought up. That is, if you ask question for them to answer immediately, not to sort of give you any sort of silence. To me, we need to, there are so many things that we need, the culture of our school really need to learn about other cultures, which as at the moment, they are not, if I want to be blunt about it. Okay, so any question from what I've said so far? No?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. So, yeah, I interrupted. Sorry, somebody else spoke first.
Sonia, yeah.
No, I was going to say, you talking about looking a person in the eye in the Caribbean, right? If a child looks you in the eye, it's a sign of disrespect.
Yeah, it is in Nigeria.
We don't, no, and here in England, it's totally different. So we're working with two cultures.
Yeah.
And we have to embrace both and be mindful of both cultures.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, that at school, so many teachers are not really mindful of that, and they penalize the child for not looking at them when they are talking to them.
Yeah.
Which to me is not really the problem. The looking is not the problem.
Mm-hmm. It's true. I agree.
Amy, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say that if anyone had any questions for Laura as well, then they could ask them now because it's the talking time. But yeah, does anyone have any questions for Sam or Laura? Or maybe you can put some questions to John about Michael's games.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I have a question, Amy.
Sam.
Sorry about that. Mike, John, that's not the first one, number 9, because Michael came.
He was counting down,
so it was counting down.
Yeah.
But it's the one that he was shooting the globe.
That was Solar Smash. That was number 9. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just wonder, because that to me is we need to really think about that in terms of the current demonstration in London, because it's about, to me, it's the way that we are destroying the earth. And
Okay. I don't know. I'd have to ask him. I'm not sure if he sees it as an environmental thing, or it's just something to pass the time when I'm driving and he's in the back seat. I honestly don't. The thing is with me, games are so much different now than they were 30 years ago when I was his age. I had a Game Boy and that was about it, playing Super Mario. Whereas now, with the invention of tablets and mobile phones, you've got a whole array of games, and it's easy now. And I think Laura might agree with me on this one. Is I go out and about. Part of my job is I go out and I go to places, I go to schools, I go to businesses, and I will always see a parent with maybe one or two children or more, and they've all got their kids glued to a tablet or phone.
Mhm.
And I think it's just a way of keeping the kids quiet while mummy and their daddy do something. So just try and keep them quiet. But yeah, I don't think there are any connections to environmental issues. Maybe Michaela will correct me, maybe Michael will correct me, but I don't think there is.
There was one game I was a bit offended by. I think it was Big Hunter, the one with the elephant.
The mammoth.
Do you know what? Yeah, I did wonder that when I was looking.
I'm sorry, I picked that up straight away. I was just offended by that. Did anybody not pick up on the caricature of the person that the mammoth was killing? And for me, that was offensive and shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed that also, and also the fact that the mammoth then stepped on the child.
Yes.
Yeah. With
at
that
the end.
Sorry, I just had just talking to Michaela just, and that's why we're trying to get more Black people involved in gaming, so it doesn't come across as less offensive later on, especially young people like Michael.
Yeah, but is the image that is being created, because first the color of the person was brown.
Brown, yeah.
Okay,
and
the person was dressing not like an European.
Yeah.
And by the way, there is no mammoth in Africa.
There's no mammoth period anyway, I don't think.
I thought it was more like the cave times. That's how I viewed it, as a bit like Ice Age, the movie, where there's the mammals like that.
Yeah, but the color used in it.
Yeah, it was the character, the little character.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm just saying that's the way. I think that's why he was dressed the way he was, because it was like the cave.
Yeah.
Caveman in the Ice Age.
But why is it that the caveman is not having a lighter skin?
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Because Africa was the center of the universe. That's where everyone lived.
Still is.
so probably the Paleolithic bones that have been found, they would have had dark skins, yes.
Yeah,
but it might just be coincidence that that's the fact.
No, but I mean, sometimes is this subliminal sort of messages going on in some of the games that one needs to look at, and they really bring it up so that there could be discussions about it. Because to me, if my child is playing with that game, I will ask some question. What are their thoughts about it? And that might raise some issues.
Yeah, well, this is another point. Is trying to get more black children involved in gaming to develop games later on in life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would like if anybody can teach me coding, I would like to do it. I have so many stories that
You could design a game, yeah.
Yeah, like I could, Sam, but you wouldn't want to, really.
I don't want to either. I'm no good.
No, I mean, I would like to create stories that if I know somebody that can really turn it into games, I would like to do that.
Amy,
Which to me will teach people and then also will be a source for discussions like this.
I think you could
Because
pretty much ask.
many-
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, go on, Laura.
That's all right. I was going to say, I bet you could pretty much ask any 13, 14, 15-year-old boy how to code a game for you, or girl, yes. Any teenager, I'm sure if you gave them your idea, they'd happily create it for you. It seems to be like the next hobby for teenagers.
But as someone who's a computer science teacher until a month ago, and it's the first time I thought about it in the last month, it's year 7, 8 and 9 where they learn the coding for creating games.
Yeah, what Michael's going into year 7.
Yeah.
Good.
And boys and girls are equal in this. If girls think it's part of the curriculum, they've got to do it, they do it and they do it well. If there's a choice, I can't put this. I think they probably see gaming for what it is, and that is, in terms of coding, it's basically the same thing over and over again.
Yeah,
Which don't seem to bother about at all. They can't have to do over and over again. And that's a sweeping statement.
but yeah.
So yes, so equal coding. It's your average young teenager would be able to take your story and make the game out of it.
Yeah, because I mean, even like the topic that we are talking about tonight, respect, to me is something that you can easily turn into games. And if you turn it into games, how will then children perceive it? Will they start to see things differently? Because to me, we need to go into their own world to teach them some of these things, not us sort of trying to teach it from our own world. We need to visit them in their own spaces.
I mean, that's a brilliant idea. I think you should take it back to your school and suggest it.
Yeah, I'm going to.
I mean, because games have got to be about something. And very often the hardest bit is deciding what that something is, because most of the things that they think of, they're naff, they're not suitable. But I think to actually have games where the basic idea is to show respect, I think that would be brilliant thing for year 8s and 9s to do.
I believe Amy. I believe Amy's got a question.
I don't have a question. It's more of like I guess I think it kind of links to Sam talking about respect and like the words and like the language you use. I don't know if it's fully related, but we'll see. I do Spanish basically, and in my Spanish lesson this week, we were talking about like phrases where you use color. So kind of like how in English we'd say like, oh, are you feeling blue? And it means you're feeling sad. So we're doing it in Spanish, and my Spanish teacher grew up in France, lives in Argentina, and she's a Black woman in Argentina. And she said she was shocked when she first went there because their phrases with color, if you literally call someone black, they don't have to be black, but it just means they're bad. That's literally how blatant it is. That's how it's awful. And like all the phrases, I've got them in my like notebook because we were learning about color idioms. And if you say the equivalent of black money, that means illegal money. If you say to put black on something, that means you're angry at something. If you see everything black, which is the same here, it means you're like really pessimistic. And it's just like all the associations are with negative things.
Like
black
ice.
Yeah, things like that. So I just thought that's definitely, even when a kid's forming language and they're like a few months old, you're already like exposing them to like that correlation with black and bad. So I think that's another problem with language.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, Amy, for raising that up, because sometimes we do not think about the languages, we just think about the word. But the language that we use to say those words matter. I mean, so that, I mean, when you are talking of things that are bad and relating it just to the word black, then it makes it brings up some connotations that when you see anything that is black, then it must be bad. And I think really, I mean, for example, like there are some countries in Africa that do not want, if you say, are you black, they will really stand up and say, no, I'm not black. Yeah. So that, I mean, and that's the way that they've seen it, because the world seems to be projecting that to them, that black is bad. Whereas, I mean, when you have black soil, to me, that's really deep soil, something that is really good. So that to me, and that's really, I try to relate myself back to the earth rather than to what people are calling me. So that I look at it that way. Jonathan, you seem to have a question.
Yeah, sorry, I'll just put that hand down there. Yeah, I was for Laura, really. Moving away from respect and back to money. You said about giving financial advice, and you obviously mentioned about the HSBC branch here in Letchworth closing down. What do you feel with regards to? I've lived in Letchworth, Baldock and Letchworth for the last 20 years, and one of the things I have seen, and I think it can be same can be said about a lot of towns now, is that the business units shutting down because business rates are constantly being hiked up and nobody can afford to use them anymore. What would you say to a small organisation like Blackworth, Letchworth, or I run a small online radio station that want premises but just cannot afford it? No matter how much fundraising they do, they just cannot afford it and don't really want to go down the route of a business loan or charity, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, there are places where you can like hire short-term lease spaces. I actually know a company that does that, and they predominantly promote that for that reason, because people don't want to commit long-term to a big lease that's quite expensive. So they make it quite easily accessible at a reasonable fund. Whether there's something local like that, I don't know, but that might a bit like a hot desk type thing where you're sharing a co-working space. But in relation to the banks closing and things like that, you know, that has happened through the digital age coming through, the fact that we are going to move very quickly into a cashless society, far quicker than we ever thought we could have because of the pandemic. And so cash is being very much frowned upon. People don't want to touch cash anymore. The amount of cash that's getting out of the cash machines and over the counter is significantly reduced. And so even though, you know, I've talked to you there about Letchworth closing, in the other branches that are remaining, there's going to be very few that are going to have a counter and they're going to be distributing cash, because it's very much frowned upon right now because of the pandemic. And probably we're going to move into a phase of where we were going to be heading, but maybe 20 years earlier because of the pandemic. So it's not necessarily down to the rates. What they're doing is they're closing the branches that they're coming to the end of the lease, or they don't own the property, and therefore there's an opportunity for them to get out now whilst they've got a branch down the road in Hitchin. There's obviously Stevenage, and then there's ones further up sort of by Royston Way. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds. And I do worry for our high streets overall, if I'm completely honest, because obviously the digital online world is just going boom. And even companies that have never worked in the online world are now having to think how they can diversify and move into that online world to protect their business from the high street closing. So that's just my thoughts and opinion.
Going back to my original question, what would you say about small organisations, and not necessarily businesses or charities for that matter, but just non-for-profit organisations that are just looking for a home?
Can I answer that one?
Yeah, of course, Val.
Get in touch with your local Letchworth manager. You've got a Letchworth bid, which is a manager who looks after the business districts in Letchworth. There's one in Hitchin as well, and they know all the possibilities of actually using empty premises, sometimes with very, very low rates or rent. They know all sorts of pockets of money that are coming from the government. There's a lot out there, but you need somebody, I can't remember the name of the Letchworth bid manager. The Hitchin one is Tom Hardy. Have the conversation with him, put your ideas to them, and they will try and come up with solutions, because there's a lot of will out there to actually use all these empty buildings. So Letchworth is going to get more because the sort of shops that Letchworth has got, they actually nationally are closing. I've got to go in a sec, so I'll just get my other two comments then. The second one is about banks. What you will always have is your post office. And the post office is actually moving towards being your local bank and being the repository where you get cash out.
Yes, definitely. And you can pay checks in there as well. So they've developed the mobile app so you can pay checks in on your app. But if it's over that limit, you can go and pay that in at the post office as well. That service has actually been there for maybe 5 or 7 years. And a lot of people don't even realise it's there. But like you say, it's going to be the alternative option.
But now people are desperate. And the third thing is, because in Letchworth, you've got the Black Squirrel Union. So you've got a social credit union in Letchworth, which is really famous.
All right.
Because it's really successful, whereby people put money into the credit union, others take it out. It's worth getting to know. And the person to get in contact with is Martin Steers Hanscom. If you want to know about the Black Squirrel Union, I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, if you could put the name in the chat, that would be great.
I'll put it in the chat. I've really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed all three contributions, and a lot to think about, but I have to go now. Right, thank you.
Right,
Nice to meet you, Val.
Thank you, Val.
Then what I didn't raise, Laura, is what do you do when people haven't given respect? I mean, I sort of alluded to it a bit before that. Don't shout, ask questions, but also possibly it's an opportunity to teach the person what to do in similar situation. Because, I mean, for example, like if my elder brother should come to England, I will not be expecting him to be asking me to prostrate for him in the middle of the town.
Yeah.
Okay, so that I might need to discuss it with him and say, look here, at home, I will do this for you, but in the community, I will not be able to do it because of the way that people will look at what I'm doing. So that it's really engaging with that type of discussion that might make people to understand what is happening. Because I mean, like my children are mixed race, like yours, Laura, and like that of Jonathan too.
My children aren't actually mixed race. So my ex-husband is white, so my children are white, but my new partner is from Ghana. So even more important, because obviously as a family, when we go out, it's quite obvious they're not their children. Although when people do comment, we like to say, oh no, they are all our children. We adopted them, you know, they're our children, you know, like because it's irrelevant, right? It's he's
Yeah,
the father
yeah.
figure, regardless
So
of
that-
whether he was actually
that-
their father.
that will even throw more dynamics into
Yeah,
it.
but I love it. I love to have something different. Did you have a question, Amy?
Oh yeah. So I'm 17, and I'd say that my parents are in the 33% of the UK who don't have financial literacy, and I'm hoping they didn't hear me say that. But
They look back.
I've just disrespected my parents. Next year, I'm going to university, and obviously, suddenly you have to pick up a lot of finance stuff. So if you haven't had it like passed down in your family,
Yeah.
and you're like a teenager, where are you supposed to go to find it out now, please?
Well, you can. This is the problem, right? Because really, it's only the very few business owners like myself that are going out there and educating, and there are some people that go into colleges and stuff like that, but I know that's still really rare. There are lots of books you can read, so I would suggest that's probably a good place to start, and podcasts. So I run my own podcast. It's called Money Savvy Parents, but you could easily listen to it and learn lots from it. There's 27 episodes or so. I've been doing it since just this year, so it's a brand new podcast. So I think podcasts are also a great place to learn some financial education, and I would say before you go down the realms of maybe the things you might have missed out on being taught, focus on the things that you need right now, ready for when you turn 18. So focus on understanding about credit scoring, understanding how credit cards work, and how you can use unsecured borrowing in a positive way to get you ready for your adulthood, because a lot of people think, okay, I'm going to be sensible and not even touch those things. And I believe that actually you can touch them and use them in a positive way to prepare yourself and get you in the best possible position for when you do want to go into buying your first home or getting a car on finance, or whatever it is you need, you know, in your mid-20s, let's say. And also something that a lot of people don't realize is with your credit score, it's actually one of your most important precious assets that most, I'd love to know the percentages, but there are lots of 40-year-olds that have never even looked at their credit score. So if you can get in the habit of doing that now, and from the minute you're 18, nurturing it, reviewing it, building it, then I can promise you that it will be the best thing you've ever done around money, because it's the one thing that stops people from having choice and options. And that's exactly why I do what I do, because I believe that financial education and financial literacy is the one thing that will allow you to have choice and options for your future.
Thank you.
And if you want to chat anytime, then just book in my diary. I'm happy to spend 30 minutes answering any question. You can just literally fire questions at me.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions for anyone? No. Okay, so because there's not much else to say, we don't have any more speakers. I guess that's all for August. I did forget to mention at the beginning, obviously, we have Michaela here in spirit in John's name, but she's busy tonight, so she's not here. But yeah, thank you for coming.
Can I just say, sorry, Michaela did ask to plug the games group as well for the kids.
Oh, right. So we have a kids STEM gaming group. If you liked what Michael was talking about and you want to see more where that came from, BVL runs a kids gaming group. If you go onto the social media pages, you'll see more information. Did she just say something to you?
Yeah, you can see the reaction on my face. There's also a dance show in Letchworth town tomorrow at 2 o'clock in town.
I loved the outfit, Michaela. I saw it on social media today. I thought it was wonderful.
She says thank you.
What age is the gaming group for, Amy? Because I'm just wondering if my 7-year-old would be too young or not.
No, it's fine.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll check that out for him then. He'd love that.
Great. So yeah, I hope you will have a good month and evening. And yeah, thank you for coming. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.